Court does call the case, People versus Ryan Atkins.
Good afternoon, Assistant Public Defender Lauren Parent, on behalf of Mr. Atkins. Mr. Atkins, please state your name for the record.
Ryan Atkins. Oh, thank you. I don't have the public, I don't have the prosecutor here. I'm good. Okay. Thanks, so. Yeah, appreciate it. Never mind, we were having a personal discussion.
No problem. Your Honor, today is the date and time set for sentencing. We did review the pre-sentence report. We have no material additions, deletions, or edits. I would like to address the recommendation. I did review it with Mr. Atkins. He is asking, frankly, for credit for time served sentence, or in the alternative, ordering him to complete some kind of in-jail program and releasing him when he completes that. He did miss his sentencing dates, and he does admit that he was wrong for that. When we talked about that, he reported to me that he missed one sentencing date, filled out the warrant recall, and it was the same day it was reset. And due to technical issues, he missed the additional sentencing date. At that time, I mean, frankly, our conversation went, why would I miss the date when the original sentence was just a fines and costs recommendation? He didn't miss court intentionally to evade sentencing. I mean, frankly, that was a more beneficial sentence to him than he's facing today, as the recommendation goes. He understands he needs to be here in court, and admits that he messed up, but
all right, folks, welcome to the courtroom battleground, where justice doesn't whisper, it roars. Ryan Atkins stands accused, his name echoing across the room like a warning shot. Missed court dates. Technical excuses. A plea for time served. But let's be real, court isn't a suggestion. It's a demand. And Ryan
wants the court to take all that context into consideration. Further, he is suffering with some health issues, including some issues in his brain. He would like to get out and address those. He needs further testing that is unable to be done in the jail. He did complete an addiction program while in prison. He's been clean since he completed that program. And it is on Suboxone and doing well. He reports to me that he takes care of his elderly parents, as well as his wife, his two stepchildren, and his child. They all live with him, and he wants to get out and get back working. He runs his two own businesses. He's a mechanic and a house remodeler. He says that he doesn't even have a license, but he essentially made a business in his backyard so he could keep working and take care of his family, because he can't drive to work. So he brought his work to him. I mean, this case, Your Honor, is about $123 worth of stuff from Walmart. He's agreed to pay restitution and make Walmart whole. I'd ask that the court not sentence him to the full 365 and consider some other resolution that includes that restitution. He does have another pending case that he vehemently denies and wants to work with his attorneys on the outside.
Ms.
Clear on behalf of probation. Your Honor, it is correct that probation's initial recommendation to the court, given that he completed programming while in MBOC, was a fines and costs only sentence. However, Mr. Atkins failed to appear for sentencing before this court not only once, but twice.
He claims health issues, brain concerns, addiction recovery, and a mechanic gig in his backyard. Sounds noble, right? But missing not one, but 2 court dates, while stacking up felonies? That's a different story. He says he's clean, caring for a family, and running 2 businesses. But the court isn't moved by words, it needs actions. Next.
And then when reviewing this, once he was picked up and has been at the jail, has picked up a new felony, which also involves theft of some nature. He may deny that, however, his criminal history has several retail fraud offenses. So he's demonstrating to the court, one, that he doesn't comply with what the court's telling him to do. He doesn't even come here when the court asks him or orders him to do so. And does the bench warrant recall, gets reset, bench warrant recall gets reset for court, and then doesn't appear. And I believe the reason he's before the court today is because he's in custody.
Mr. Atkins, anything you want to say before I impose sentence?
Sure. Yeah. I missed the court here because the charge that I'm in here for, the cops took my phones. So I've got a lot of stuff. I got myself into something that I didn't know that I got myself into, basically. Had no recollection of it. Or not recollection, that's the wrong word for it. Didn't know who I was keeping myself around.
You don't want to.
So, right, I'm just, he knows. I'm telling
Oh,
you
yeah.
straight like I
Well,
always
I
have.
know
always
what
will.
it's about.
I've never lied to you. I've always been straight up with you. And like, I just need to be out there so I can get better so I can fight my case out there, because what they're trying to do is none of the facts. And I don't know really what all of it's about, because you can't get the information you need while you're locked up in here.
Now here's where it gets spicy. Atkins says his phone was seized, that he got dragged into something bigger than he realized. But the judge isn't buying, I didn't know. Not today. With a past packed with retail fraud. The courtroom tension spikes. 23 priors? You don't just accidentally build that kind of rap sheet.
But with my wife's help that's sitting back there, that's got my back 100. My family got my back 100. I missed court solely because I got so much more going on. And I didn't mean that it's not serious, because it was serious. But the day that I missed court, I was up here, tried to get it taken care of. You had already left the same day when I did the recall. And then when the cops came and took my phones, like, I've literally, my life got turned upside down in hours, and I didn't know that any of this was going on. So I'm not making an excuse. That's just why I missed court. I don't make a game on missing court. Like, it's serious, and that's all I got to say.
Part of the problem is, Ryan, and we've dealt with each other for a long time, you got 23 prior retail frauds.
When I was on drugs.
Well, you have 23 of them.
I get it.
And then you have this one coming up, this one here that I'm about to sentence you on. And I don't mind giving a break, but then while this is pending, a whole other issue comes up regarding potentially, and I'm not presuming you're guilty of it, but a theft of machinery. I mean, basically. Hold on. Because I don't want you to say anything about it because it's pending, but I'll just say this, that part of the problem with you is that it goes.
As emotions run hot, Atkins defends himself. He says he's misunderstood. Framed even. But there's more on the table, a fresh felony with major dollar signs. We're talking accusations tied to hundreds of thousands of dollars. The judge doesn't ignore patterns. Missed sentencing. Dodged responsibilities. And now, a potentially massive scheme brewing.
From, say, this one's $150 basically. Up to now where there's accusations that amount to hundreds of thousands of dollars. Right. And you know, I'd like to ignore that. I've never had anything against you. I mean, I realize what you've been struggling with and dealing with, but I can't ignore that either.
And I don't ask you to. I just ask you to maybe look at, has that ever been my MO? Ever? And like, come on, I commit misdemeanors. You've dealt with me my whole life. Like, just to me, it just sounded like, how do you go from $150 to hundreds of thousands of dollars? Like that.
And that,
and being
maybe
so,
the $1 million question.
Right.
I don't know.
And that's why I want to be out there so I can figure it out, because I myself is still figuring out what is, I mean, if you have a guy come do work for you and then all of a sudden he gets you pulled into something that you don't even know, that's where we're at with that. Like, and
maybe that's how it's going to turn out. Hey, and I'm not here to argue and debate that case.
Right.
But that's one thing. The other thing is, and you know how I am, Ryan.
I do.
I just ask you to do certain things, and you just have to do them. And if you do them, you're okay,
right,
with me. But if you don't, then you got a problem.
And
just remember, in this case, Ryan, you didn't do your first PSI. And don't tell me you don't know how it works here, Ryan. I'm not going to sit up here and try to overtalk you. I'm just telling you that. And then next thing you know, you don't show up, issue a warrant, allow it to be recalled, and then you don't show up again. And I couldn't even be guaranteed that you were going to show up today necessarily, or whenever we got you back, except that you got caught up in this other case. So, the sentence of the court, $125 statutory fee, $149.66 restitution to Walmart, payable to the court, which will be due 30 days after release. I am going to sentence you to 365 days in jail, credit 18. You are to serve that balance. I will consider and take into account if that other matter is resolved, how it's resolved. I'll take a look at it and determining whether or not to adjust the sentence. But at this point, I'm not going to do that. All right. Thank you.
The gavel drops. 365 days behind bars. $149 restitution. No early release unless future outcomes say otherwise. The judge makes it clear: show up, step up, or get shut down. For Ryan Atkins, the message is brutal but simple: accountability isn't optional. And justice? It doesn't forget.